Welcome, everybody, to Why Are You an Entrepreneur? The Trials and Triumphs. I'm Maureen Edwards. I'm the founder of 8 Simple Steps, and I created this program because the journey of entrepreneurship is very hard. So having that community out there, understand that entrepreneurs like you, whether they're just starting or they're super seasoned, we all go through the same thing. And this is to bring you some words of wisdom, some best practices, opportunities to really reach out to people who can help you. And as usual, I bring you rock star entrepreneurs ready to give you a message unlike anybody else. All right. And tonight is no exception. Enrique Acosta Gonzalez, he is the CEO of Triad Leadership Solutions. And I have to tell you, award winning, an author, served in our military for 26 years. We can say thank you with all our heart for that. And I think you're in for a rock star conversation. So welcome, Enrique.
Thank you, Maureen. I really appreciate you asking me to close out. What an honor to close out your sessions here, and excited for this conversation on entrepreneurship. Not an easy road for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to have somebody like you close out 2023 with this show, because I know that what you're going to share tonight is something that people are going to be able to take into 2024. So let's get this party started. I asked the first question, why are you even doing this? Because like you said, entrepreneurship is hard. Having a business is hard. So how did you get on this journey?
Well, initially it started with, hey, I want some freedom, right? And it's the delusion of entrepreneurship that almost everyone that either wants to get in it, is starting to get in it, or just got in it, has this thing called freedom on the forehead, right? It's just one of those things. That's okay, because there are some periods in your entrepreneurial life that you will have a certain amount of freedom that maybe someone on a 9 to 5 won't have. But it's not all inclusive. You won't be running around Tahiti on your laptop and running a multi-million dollar business on your first year, second year, third, fourth, or whatever, right? It's there's a delusion. There's something that has been painted as the catwalk of entrepreneurship, but that's not how it goes. So I quickly learned that that's the case, and then I started to have to really hone in on the business acumen and the business knowledge and the responsibility behind entrepreneurship, and not only that, that it takes more work than it would for me to go on a 9 to 5. So if entrepreneurship is something that's appealing to you for whatever reason, I say dig in a little more, because there's a whole lot to learn.
And it's so funny because so many people will say, I'm going to take control of my destiny. I don't want a boss. I
Yeah.
want that flexibility. And I think that is the driving force for a lot of people to get into it. But
Right.
getting into it is not easy. And so what do you think should be the first step if somebody either A, is thinking about leaving their corporate job and taking this on, or
Yeah.
B, some people are forced due to ageism, can't get back into the workforce. The
Right.
majority of my clients are over 50 to 55, and they were forced into entrepreneurship. So what advice would you give to an entrepreneur, a budding entrepreneur, first and foremost, starting out?
Well, I'll tell you that in my case, saving grace is that I have a financial foothold that allows me to explore entrepreneurship at my pace. So if you are thinking that you want to be your own boss, consider your financial standing.
Yeah.
Where are you? Are you the type of person that gets and spends? Because you're not going to be in business long, right? So your relationship with finances is key to starting to in your starting out in entrepreneurship. what kind of habits you have, because sometimes you'll have to not pay yourself in order to pay somebody else. So if you have a bad relationship, or what I would say an unhealthy relationship with finance, get that down, because it's going to be bumpy on the money side, right? You're going to be in the red sometimes and having to go get a loan to keep yourself afloat. So that financial relationship is key. I would think if you was gonna go ahead and try to do it yourself now.
It's funny because the consensus, and I agree with this, is start. I don't want to call it a side hustle because I think it's so much more serious. I say
Yeah.
start an exit plan on the side and work on somebody else's money while you are building your business. And that way, financially, like you said, you can um, put the pieces in place so that when you're ready, you at least have a cushion. And you did have a cushion. But I will tell you right now, you don't pay yourself sometimes for a little while. And
Oh yeah.
so
Oh yeah.
I, yeah, get some clients first.
Yeah.
Get your product, the proof of concept done, test marketed, that sort of thing. But here I have a question for those who can afford to do that and have that
Mhm.
luxury. Other people who are going, all right, I haven't had a job. I'm having no luck. I've got to bring an income in. For those people, what do you recommend for them?
Yeah, that's a tough position to be in, especially if you're used to the workforce and this is a brand new thing for you. When entrepreneurship is birthed out of desperation, it's tough. It's tough. You don't have the luxury to go out and proof your concept, and you don't have the luxury of having surveys so that you can get some market input, right? You don't have that luxury. You have to do it. Um, I would suggest you start in something that you're happy to be in, right? That's kind of what ended up being for me. I chose leadership because I can speak that in my sleep, and I could do that on a daily basis consistently, and it doesn't tax me. It doesn't cause me angst and anxiety to have to produce that. This is something that I love to do with all my heart, and it comes easy, right? So I chose leadership development. What is that allows you to fully display your talents? You be happy, and oh, by the way, charge somebody for it, right? Because that's the whole business lineup. You have to charge somebody. You could start slow. I know that bills have to be paid and things of that nature, uh, but sometimes entrepreneurship is not the answer. Sometimes to get another job is the answer, right? And
Yeah.
so you at that point you just can't be picky. You got to get a job.
And we have a LinkedIn user who said, have a part time job and split the difference with your startup. So you can fund a little bit on the side until, and I think some people, they're like, well, I was a huge corporate executive, or though that is so beneath me. And I'm like, there is nothing beneath you in entrepreneurship. There is no ego here.
Yeah.
So I think that's smart advice that your LinkedIn user gave. Have a little part-time job that can help you fund this and give you that cushion um, with a plan. So tell me a little bit. You went into leadership and something you love, something you're passionate about. That's
Mhm.
a great place to start. I'm sure you have a big network too that you could pull upon, and that's always good too, right? Is to go
Right,
into
right.
something where you're familiar with them. Tell me what has been the greatest success in your business and what you have done.
The greatest success is the results of my entrepreneurial, exploits, right? I said that I was a leader, that I can do this if you give me the opportunity. I have actually been able to see that as a result of my interchange or exchanges with my clients. And I think that is the ultimate prize for anyone that's producing or providing services. Can your people, those that engage in you in your business, say that you can do what you said that you would? So I think that's the greatest success.
Is there something in your business that you would do differently starting out?
Yeah, I would have had more help.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs forget that this is not a one-way show. If you don't have a group of people that are corralling around you and you have those key players to be there in position for the moment that you need them, what you're going to do is you're going to scramble trying to fill those positions and get that help when you could have been advancing instead of shuffling and trying to get the fire out. And so I would have had more key people in place early on than when I needed them.
Thank you for that advice because if anybody has heard that, really, really listen. Okay. Not just hear it, but listen because there are people around you. There are communities, there are mentors, there are coaches, there are people who know more than you.
Yeah.
And I made that mistake early on. I thought I could do it all, and it doesn't work out that way. And so, if you want to be successful and move the needle, you have to hire people who know more than you do, and you stay in your lane. And they do it too late, Enrique. I find
Yeah.
that this is a struggle. And I work with business owners at all stages, but the ones who are just starting have such a hard time. And don't you always hear, well, I can't afford it. I
Yeah.
can't afford it.
That that's the main that's the
Yeah,
main
that is
complaint.
the number one reason.
Yeah.
And I will say, you can't afford not to. Let me know if you're still here in 6 months and if you've implemented anything, if you've moved anything. So, do you think it's 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 just money, or do you think they just don't understand the importance of it?
Well, it's both, but it is primarily money, right? If they see money going out and not so much coming in to hire somebody, it's kind of fearful. You get fearful. But you have to think about what is the return on investment for that hire. And I'll kind of like side note this. Not everything is a hire situation. So I've done a lot of collaboration
Mhm.
where I provided my service, they provided their service, and we called it a day. I got what I needed, they got what they needed, and then so what I call in kind service, right? Um, I've had a lot of that happen in my business where there was no actual money exchange, but value exchange. So that's something that you can't forget that's available when you don't feel like you can put the money. Now, I will tell you, if I get somebody and pay them, let's say $10 an hour to do a job, if I do it, it's 400 an hour. I just saved $390.
Yeah, I like this math going
Right.
on.
I just saved that. And so when you think about that, now you have somebody doing that level of work for the appropriate amount of money. I take my 390 and I invest it somewhere else, which is my business, doing my business. And so when you're thinking about, oh, there's too much to do this, that, the other, how much is it for you to do?
Is such great advice and a totally different flip of mindset. I really like the in-kind services because somebody new also they could maybe use you as a testimonial, as a reference
Yeah.
by, you give social media services, and you get a reference, you get a testimonial about it. So when you're building your business, I think that is a great, great idea. And I haven't heard anybody bring it up, Enrique. So thank you for that. So anybody
Good,
listening
good.
out there, go ahead and investigate that. So tell me, are there any channels of marketing that you use for your business, because there are a lot of consultants out there, there are a lot of coaches out there that are pretty much aligned in similar industries and similar positions. For your business, it could help those out there. What type of marketing are you having the most success with?
Yeah, LinkedIn is the best source for marketing activity, right? So I have a marketing director. She takes care of all the stuff for us at Triad. We The thing about marketing is this: you don't know your target, you can market all day,
Yeah.
any way you want. You can create 1,000 videos and flip books and all kinds you want. If it's not going to the appropriate people that need to hear it, that are more likely to purchase your product, you've wasted your time. So I would say in marketing, focus more on who it is that you want to hear your message. That will streamline not only the fact that you're talking to the right people, but you're talking to the right people that are going to come back and actually purchase either your product or your service. So I say focus there.
Did not tell him to say that, everybody out there, because that's what I do. I will tell you right now, the very first step in business exactly is niche and target that audience, because then you will be able to show up in the right place, talk to them the right way that's relevant and resonates. And I always say, if you're doing a ton of marketing like you're talking about and you're getting nowhere, you don't have a marketing problem, you got a messaging problem. And all those videos in the world, like you said, the message is off because you just didn't know the audience. So thank you so much, because people are sick of me saying it. So I'm so glad somebody else did. I swear I did not pay you to do that. So besides LinkedIn, do you feel that, somebody should just focus on one platform, or do you feel like they should be everywhere? Like Facebook and then, X, which was formerly Twitter. And do you just stick to one and just nail it?
So in as far as platforms is concerned, I believe in the graduating from one platform to the next. There are some, depending on what you're providing, right? So I'm providing leadership development. People on Facebook, they're not looking for leadership development. People on Instagram not looking for leadership development. TikTok not looking for leadership development. Twitter's not. LinkedIn is. And so if I've exhausted all of my avenues and all of my resources within LinkedIn, then I will graduate to another one and then exploit what that has to offer versus throwing a spray of, hey, I can help you, and still going back to LinkedIn, right? So I say, know your platform, who's there that really wants your, and then you have to craft it for those particular platforms, because what moves on LinkedIn won't move on Facebook, will move on to, so you have to also know those things. But I say, if you take the graduating approach, you'll exhaust everything out of one in order to move to the next one.
Love that. Love that advice. So, when we're looking at mindset, I mean, being an entrepreneur takes a very special type of mindset. And in my experience, people have a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic, a lot of imposter syndrome. It's a lot to get over, and a lot of people want to give up. And so what would be your advice to them if people are at the point where, you know what, I don't know if this is working out?
I'd say make up your mind. You're driving me nuts. You know, we tend to, right? Sometimes it's the things happening in our lives. Sometimes it's us. Sometimes it's a job. Sometimes it's a client. There's just gonna be so much coming at you in life, period. You add the element of entrepreneurship and business ownership, you're asking for trouble, right? You're asking for it. But when it comes, you don't have to buckle. You have to remember that resiliency is only built because things happen. So the things are going to happen. That's okay. How do you come out of that to still be the force that you wanted to be presented before the marketplace? How do you hold on to that? So I say focus on who you know you are, focus on that there are solutions to problems, and also focus on that resiliency is only built through an exploration of challenges. It's okay. The sun will come back out again tomorrow, but are you gonna be there? And so if you know who you are and what you're made of, you can make it. Um, but you will have to make up your mind.
Good advice.
So tell me, have you ever had a client where it has not worked out and there were red flags from the beginning that maybe
Oh yeah.
you should not have moved forward with them? Can you share an instance with that and how you overcame it?
Yeah, so I went through a program called CEO Mindset out here in Florida. Good friend of mine, I love her to death, and she taught us what she would dub, and it's hers, the red rope policy, right? The red rope policy is basically not everybody gets it. You have to know as a business owner that just because people have money does not mean they get to get in. Some money is bad money. Some clients are not good.
Yeah.
So when we talk about discovery calls, that's how I use my red rope policy and put it into place. There are markers in our conversation that will key me into either yes, I can help you, I'm going to send you this, yada, yada. Or hear you, do agree that you have some challenges, but I can't help you in those. I would be willing to give you someone that can. Is that okay? You have to have that in your pocket because there's going to be some clients that right off the discovery call, you'll know, no way, no how. This is going to be too much. So if you establish number one that you're not going to grab everybody's money, that you're going to be selective on your client base, and that your client base has to meet your strategy for client services, right? You have to know that. And once you're clear on those, I think that will eliminate most of, right? You can't catch them all, but most of the what we would call paying in arrears, right? Those clients that come that just you should have never said yes to, right? So I say have a process that will help you save your time.
Great. So we have entrepreneurs who tune in here that are just starting and those who are very established and are scaling.
Mhm.
So, that advice, have you found that people who are just starting will take anything they can because they need revenue? They take income
Yeah,
and they're too afraid to turn somebody down. So, what advice would you give to them?
yeah. Fear is your opponent. Fear is your opponent. Business. If you're always afraid, can't take risks. Although, be it, I'll say calculated risk. Um, you're going to be opposed at every corner because everything is going to be a potential for fear. When it comes to clients, what you have to really fear is you hiring or them hiring you and you figuring out that this is going to be the worst year of your life. You have to make some decisions. Is it money that you're after because that's what you'll get? Is it business that you're after because business you got to be careful. You can't associate with everybody in business because reputation runs business, right? So make some choices. If it's money, that's all you're going to get, and it's going to also come with problems. But if you take the time to be selective and ease your way in, like I said, some people have to rush and start doing something, and you feel like you have to take all the money. I'd say uh, if you bring in mass and you can select from there, would be great. Uh, but always consider an exit strategy, not just for business, for your client.
Base.
Awesome. I mean, it's okay to fire a client. It's okay.
Mhm.
There are, things that boundaries of what people will do and what you will not tolerate. So you have to have your boundaries. But I also like how you said have a discovery process, because I actually have a form that I send them ahead of time, and that'll give me an idea if I'm even the right person to have that conversation and spend time. So I
Right.
think that's really important. What you said is, have those questions already, to send to them before, because you can eliminate a lot of people just doing that.
Oh, yes. And also consider that, there are legal ramifications for some activity when you're talking about you winning a contract. Make sure that you have a clear clause that would allow you to do that separate, your separate ways without you suffering the consequence. So legal advice is critical, but you can structure your contracts in a way where that is real easy to do.
That's awesome. All right. So I would like to know if there is a special quote that is like one of your favorites, or something that, really reflects how you live your life.
Always wins.
Say that again.
Always wins.
Truth always wins. That's awesome.
What I've learned in business is that anything and in life, right? It is truly a life kind of phrase that I use, but I bring it into business because things that are just hidden, right? Things that are hidden, there's a reason for it. It's not usually never good. And in business, once you start hiding stuff, it's just not good. It's not good practice. It's not good for your people. It's not good for your bank, and it won't be good for the government. Yeah. So truth always wins, and if you dedicate yourself to, regardless of what the circumstances are, that you're going to be truthful, because I've seen a lot of times that companies know ahead of time that they're going to cut some people out, and they wait to the very last minute.
Yes.
Yes.
Some shady playing.
Yeah.
And how about you just be truthful and help them navigate the next several months so they can be in a better place and position to get into another job. So
Well, I think that also goes back to always have an exit plan right in your back pocket.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and learn from that to not do it in your own company. But I think
yeah,
more companies do that than not, and that's why I think people want freedom. They're like, I'm so out after being
right.
burned like that, right? Um, so I want you to tell everybody who your ideal client is, who you work with, and how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, my ideal client is that brand spanking 20 to 25-year-old that's starting on their journey of leadership. Maybe you graduated, you got your first managerial position, you're scared to death, you got imposter syndrome, and we can get you where you need to go, because everybody has their leadership qualities, everybody has their leadership potentials, and everybody has value. What I want is for a workforce that starts today to be a great workforce tomorrow. So if you're within that range, that'd be great. I also work with, as a thing, executives that have lost their love for leadership. We can't have you in those positions if you don't love leadership, right? So I like to work with executives that are in that position. Obviously, they have to be a little truthful themselves to be able to say, yeah, I don't like this thing no more. But yeah, those two groups would be my ideal clients.
Perfect. And how do they get a hold of you, Enrique?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, so that would be the best place.
Okay.
Or you can go to my website, which is also on LinkedIn, but triadleadershipsolutions.com.
Awesome. Well, I'm hoping that you're going to come back again and give us an update and some more words of wisdom. Um, Everybody, I hope you have enjoyed this conversation because I have picked up things that I didn't even, you know, we're all on this journey, and even those of us who've been doing it a long time, and we're coaches for other people, we are always learning from each other, and that's
Yeah,
what we should be doing here. And I want to say
absolutely.
thank you for all of you who have tuned in to hearing this rock star. Okay, if you see the amount of awards he has published books. I mean, you've heard some stuff here from somebody who really knows it. So, Enrique, thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
everybody who's tuned in tonight. I will let you know 2024 has a few adjustments. Instead of this being a weekly format, it will be a monthly format. So I will only have 12 guest spots, and I already have a few that are already taken. So if you would like to elevate your authority and share your journey to help others, please reach out to me at 8simplesteps.net or also on LinkedIn. Let's have a conversation. I would love to hear your story, and I know other people will. So we will be doing this on the second Thursday of every month. So please let me know if you'd like to be a guest. And if you are doing a lot of marketing and you have a strong online presence and you are still not getting traction, let's have a conversation. It's not as hard of a fix as you think. You just got the process out of order. Let's get your target audience and your messaging taken care of. So reach out. Let me know if you need any help with that. Everybody have a wonderful holiday. Happy New Year to everybody. And we ended this, I think, on an amazing high note. Thank you, Enrique.
Thank you.